You ever have a morning where the dead walk in like they never left, like all the lies and ceremonies and military funerals in the world couldn't keep them down? That's how it started. The day Sarah Chun stepped into Fort Bragg's sniper program with a stare so cold it made the colonels flinch, and every so-called killer in the room catch their breath. Somebody even whispered, "She's not supposed to be alive." Yeah, that happened. And the laughter only died when she picked up a busted old rifle and aimed 2 miles downrange, like ghosts never scared her to begin with. Fort Bragg's United States Army Sniper Training Center isn't a place for the faint-hearted. It smells like gun oil, old sweat, and tradition so thick you could choke on it. Every surface shines, every trophy case gleams, and the air is just heavy with the sense that you're walking among men who built their whole identity around the ability to kill from the horizon. Sarah stood there at the front desk, papers marked CIA analyst, cross-training for field ops, all signed off by some ghost in the system that made questions just melt away. Around her, the world moved on. Instructors barking, trainees polishing weapons like it was church of everybody's trying to act like they don't see her, but the numbers say it all 3% women in the whole damn program, and most of them gone in 48 hours. The ones who stay fight 2 wars, one at the target and one just to prove they belong. The joke started before she finished signing. You know how it is. Daddy's little princess can't handle the recoil. Just trash talk from guys who've never been shot at by someone who wants them dead. She didn't even blink, just moved the pen like she was used to the weight. And I swear to God the clerk's face went pale reading her file. Red stamps everywhere, words like classified and restricted. You only see when somebody high up doesn't want you asking questions. A senior instructor drifted over, all smiles but eyes sharp, and he gave her that tone they reserve for lost tourists. "Ma'am, you sure you're in the right building? This isn't beginner stuff." And she looks up, calm as midnight, voice soft, but it carries, "I'm exactly where I need to be." There's something in her eyes that makes the man step back, just a bit like he saw a glimpse of what it's like to come home with sand in your soul and names you whisper at night. Her gear didn't make sense. Beat-up duffel, high-spec rifle case, hand with calluses you don't get from paperwork, a hitch in her left shoulder like an old wound she forgot how to hide. In the background, special forces and rangers strolled by, barely glancing, not knowing they were looking at a legend in hiding. The instructor handed back her forms, his hand shaking a little, and the whispers started. Someone recognized the scar under her shirt, and a rumor floated through the room. Ghost Rodriguez died in Kandahar. Everybody knows that. That's when Colonel Marcus Steele came in, big man, linebacker build, face like the side of the mountain, and just as hard. He saw her and sneered. "Looks like someone got lost on their way to the secretarial pool." She flinched not at the insult, but at the word lost, like it hit some old nerve. Watching from the side was Major Rebecca Hartwell, sharp-eyed, collecting psychological profiles like baseball cards. Certain women don't belong here, waiting for Sarah to crack. Steele gave her the worst rifle in inventory, scope busted, barrel worn, ammo bad enough to send most shooters home in disgrace. Target set farther than anyone else's. "Maybe this is too much for you, sweetheart," he drawled, and she just field-stripped the weapon without blinking, hands moving like she'd done it in her sleep. The other trainees watched, some snickering, but one Corporal Davies, she saw the way she worked the bolt, a pattern you only see in old classified Afghan footage, and his blood ran cold. That couldn't be her. He'd been at the memorial. Hartwell played the long game. Her gear went missing, food tainted, training times shifted just enough to trip her up, and every time Sarah Rodriguez really just doubled down. She was first in, last out, practicing with junk, eating hunger, and sleeping with one eye open. But alone in the barracks, sometimes the mask cracked. She'd grip the sink till her knuckles went white, whispering names of the dead like prayers. Williams, Martinez, Thompson, and by dawn the mask was back, eyes red but her back straight. You ever wonder what it takes to keep breathing when the whole world wants you gone? She did it by force of will. Even as Steele tried to break her, she breezed through drills with the kind of perfection you can't teach, reading wind drift and humidity like it was her mother tongue, correcting ballistics equations the instructors themselves got wrong. They started running her face through the database, but her cover held hair different, face changed just enough, background wiped clean. One night, during a navigation exercise, she moved through darkness like she'd hunted men by starlight before. And every time Afghanistan came up in class, her jaw clenched, her hands stilled. Then the day came for the 2-mile shot, broken rifle and all, and Steele tried to block her, Hartwell adding concern like poison liability issues. She'll embarrass us all. The crowd gathered to watch her fail, but she just nodded. I accept full responsibility for any failure. When Steele tried to deny her, she shot back. Unless you're admitting your equipment's not up to standard, sir. A trap that made him either let her try or admit his own sabotage. He let her try, everyone watching for a spectacular failure. She prepped her rifle like a surgeon, grouped the bad ammo, scribbled calculations nobody but Davies recognized had seen those formulas in reports about a sniper in Afghan mountains, Ghost Rodriguez, who was supposed to be dead. The first shot missed by inches, and the room erupted in laughter, but she used the data, recalculated, adjusted her whole position, switched to iron sights 2 miles, crosswind, bust a gun, and she hit dead center on the next shot. The place went silent, instructors scrambling for binoculars, disbelief everywhere. That's when the truth spilled. Davies stepped up, voice shaking. You're not Sarah Chun. You're Ghost Rodriguez. The disguise was gone. The legend stood up in flesh, blonde hair dye, and prosthetics abandoned. The range master ran her biometrics, face drained of Color Sergeant Elena Rodriguez. Medal of Honor, 47 confirmed kills, supposed to be Kia. Steele stared at her like his whole world was upside down, and she just said, Sarah Chun was a cover. The CIA needed me invisible while we hunted Mason. You see, Mason was an instructor here, 3 years back sold out his own, orchestrated an ambush that killed her team for $2 million, then covered it up with fake death certs, corrupt surveillance, and a missing interpreter. Rodriguez survived 72 hours in hell, dragging shrapnel and secrets, and made it to a safe house. Her choice was simple. Come back and tip off Mason, or stay dead long enough to catch him. When Mason showed up for the International Sniper Championship as an expert commentator, with private security and all the arrogance in the world, Rodriguez was waiting. The shots she made that day, 2,800, 3,000, 3,200 meters each, one flawless, until the moment she caught the glint from the media tower, realized Mason was drawing a bead on her right then, in front of 10,000 people and a global audience. She calculated the shot, heart rate steady, whispered, "This is for Williams, for Martinez, for Thompson. Mason, you should have made sure I was dead." She fired, caught him the shoulder, not the heart, justice, not revenge. Security stormed the tower. Cameras caught everything Mason's plot, his network, confessions spilling out on live TV. The whole rotten system exposed. Rodriguez sat silent, hands trembling, loaded her last round, and made one final, perfect shot to win the competition, crowd roaring in awe. As officials tried to lead her off the range, Steele asked, "Would you do it again?" She said, "Every soldier accepts they might die for their country. They don't expect their country to sell them out. My team deserve better. If I have to carry this so others don't, then yes." Every time, media swarmed, brass lined up to pin medals, but Rodriguez slipped away, ghost-like, answering Hartwell's question, "Where will you go?" with a shrug. Wherever ghosts are needed. Mason wasn't unique. He just got caught. She disappeared into the world, a legend alive. 6 months later, somewhere in South America, mercenaries died to shots nobody saw coming. Fort Bragg's memorial wall always had fresh flowers. No one ever signed the cards, but everyone knew the ghost of Kandahar was still out there, waiting in the dark for the next traitor, her legend growing with every perfect shot, her mission unfinished. Now you tell me, if you had the chance to stand up for your team knowing the price was everything you loved, would you do it? Or would you let ghosts stay buried? Share what you think about justice, revenge, and who really pays when loyalty is for sale.